Okay, hello everybody. Welcome back to another episode of What's Your Thought, a talk show for the youth by the youth. I am your host Isabel, and these are my hosts Hinan and Brian. And this is What's Your Thought, Season 3, Episode 4. Okay, so welcome back to another episode. So today, as you can see from our title, we'll be doing the topic anime. And what sparked this topic was the other day we were coming to church, it was a Saturday, very, very casual Saturday. We were coming to church for 180, well, slightly earlier than that to do our cleanup. And suddenly we saw it was very, very jammed. And then we found out that it was jammed because of a convention going on in Paradigm, and it just so happened to be an anime convention. And I believe this lasts for quite a few days. Yeah, it lasted for quite a few days, and there was like a jam, I believe, it was a really, really long jam. We had to be stuck in jam for quite a while because a lot of people were going, and I heard a lot of stories from my friends where they will park all far away from Paradigm, and then they would walk, they will park their cars far away from Paradigm, and then they'll walk all the way to Paradigm because they just wanted to get into that anime convention, which is what sparked this topic. And you're wondering, why do I have two different people here with me today? Well, that's because Hinan here, he used to be an avid watcher of anime. I remember last time he would come to school with his death note, scaring people around. He was a prefect, by the way, so when he wrote their names, he would write their names in a death note, scaring students around. And then he would have his merch and anime jacket going on over there. He's very crazed about anime. And then over here is Brian, where he wasn't as crazy, but he would occasionally, go into class when people were to yell some anime reference, he would also join in and yell some Japanese words.
False
I am a
statements.
witness of that.
False statements.
So, which is why they are my hosts here, my co-host here with me today. So, Hinan, starting with you, what was the appeal of anime to you?
I'd say a huge appeal of the anime would be I suppose I was very new to school at the time when I really got into anime. I was actually convinced to get into anime by my friends, because I didn't have Wi-Fi growing up in my house.
Very sad.
I didn't have internet access for the better part, so I was never a huge consumer of YouTube or anime or in general any TV shows I was more of a book person. I was always a very ready person, but when I joined school, my new school, which was CPJ at the time, my friends around me were all anime watchers, and they would always talk about anime, and I didn't really, didn't really get it last. So eventually, after months and months of nagging, I did get into anime. I started watching maybe one episode a day. Eventually, it progressed to the point where I was watching about 6 hours of anime a day. 6 hours. So I was barreling through one season of anime every day.
6 hours? That's 24 minus 6, 18 hours.
And I really did enjoy the anime. It was very appealing because of, I suppose, the action was one. It showed great stories of how people overcome issues, of how people you would always see main characters with glaring weakness at the start. Then throughout the course of the story, they overcome that weakness and they gain some character development, which gives that satisfaction there. Also, I guess romance anime was one of my preferences at the time. I really did enjoy romance anime.
So one question,
nice.
why?
I don't know, it's just very nice and wholesome. I guess we could get into that later on.
Alright.
So let's do a bit of maths here, Hinan. So you watched 6 hours of anime, and so that's 18 hours left of your day. So school was about 7 hours. So
6 hours, 6 hours, yeah.
So that's 12 hours left of your day. So now tell me, what do you do for the rest of your 12 hours? Where does the sleep go?
Assuming I sleep 6 hours and traveling and eating and just overall everything else consists about maybe 3-4 hours. I'd say I slept on average about maybe 3-4 hours, and then I tried doing homework for the remaining 4 hours. Or I don't know, but one thing I know is that I didn't sleep a lot. I watched anime until pretty late, and I guess it did have a lot of very, very negative effects on me that I'll get into later. But I suppose I didn't have much time. Most of the time was spent either between playing games and hanging out with friends and everything, and watching anime.
We can vouch for that.
Yeah.
like there are a few of our classmates in our room right now who are all in the same class, and then we can all remember Hinan coming in the class all groggy with his hair. He thinks his hair looks good, but it's actually not one. And then the time he slept was during class time. I'm telling you. So Brian, what was the appeal of anime to you?
For me, I will agree with what Hinan said. Definitely, for me, it's all about the action. You know, the action, the drama, a bit of gore here and there. Horror was one of my favorite genres. That was appeal. The appeal would be like what people would, most people would like about movies, like normal live action movies or TV series, as well as now very popular as well, K-drama. K-drama, you have all your different romance, action, your horror, K-drama, I don't know, whatever not lah. It's the same for me lah. I saw it. The easiest example I can say is that I saw anime to me as how most people would see movies or K-pop, not K-pop, sorry, K-drama. So definitely the appeal was just that lah. And personally, why I would prefer anime more than movies would be that because of this. I mean, anime, they can do a lot of things, right? It's animated, right? So you can see the most ridiculous storyline, the most like craziest storylines, which really got me hooked lah. You know, like what Hinan said, the character development. You will relate to the character when you saw them at the weakest, and then you see them slowly progress. And all the anime fans know the training arcs, and how they progress, and then how they become the best of the best at the end of the day lah. So that really the appeal was that you want to follow the character. That would be the appeal for me. I wanted to follow and see what's happening next. What are they gonna do next? What are they going to add in? What's the next villain? What's the next power up the main character might get? So that's what got me. I was more into the action or the drama side, because the drama really got me hooked. Sometimes I would just go to sleep like, dang, what? Thinking about it, you know, the cliffhangers always gets me. But that's the appeal of anime for me.
Did you get your sleep?
Yes, definitely. I wasn't obsessed, not to the point of Hinan of 6 hours a day. I would just watch it in my free time, that's for sure. After school, you know, like 2-3 hours to spare, and let me just watch a few episodes, like 2-3, then I go shower, come back. I mean, I would say study, but well, you know, study, you know, just to say out there, but I will definitely did not use more than 3 hours a day on anime for sure. I just watch it as a casual pastime. It's a pastime for me. That's what anime was to me.
So now we can clearly see the contrast of anime watchers between both of you. One got sleep, one didn't. So between these contrasts, okay, what would you say, Hinan? What was the cause of these contrasts, or was there like what caused this contrast, or what got you so deep into anime that you would sacrifice sleep for anime?
I suppose I'd say when I first started out, it was just a means of entertainment. But over the course of time, like, if you'd ask me back then why I like anime so much, I'd just tell you I like anime. It was enjoyable. It killed time, number one. Number two, it gave me a sense of enjoyment. It was a way of, like, after a hard day of school, I come home, I open an episode of anime. Then I just relax with that one episode of anime. So 30 minutes wasn't enough. One more episode immediately came one more season. Okay. So but then after all that, I found myself, like, upon looking back at myself now, I found myself using it as a form of escape. Like, understandably, I mean, like, I was just a kid at school. But, like, for me, at that time, school was stressful. School was difficult to me at the time. And I just wanted to go home and forget about it. So I watched an episode of anime. I watched another episode of anime. As long as I'm watching an episode of anime, I'm feeling good about myself. And I'm not feeling good about myself. I'm enjoying, and I'm not stressing out about something. And yeah, I watch. And the whole time, after watching like one season, I'd enjoy myself for 6 hours. But then it would be like 3 a.m. at night by the time I finish. And I had just spent my whole day watching anime, and I have to go to sleep. I'm lying down in my bed 3 a.m. at night, and I'm left with the thought of I just spent the whole day watching anime. I didn't do anything productive, anything to better myself. I just spent the whole day watching someone else or this ideal character go through some character development.
So considering how this was quite detrimental to your health, you didn't get much sleep, and I assume that your diet wasn't doing well as well.
Whoa, what are you trying to say?
Yeah, exactly. What does this have to do with my diet?
Listen, guys, last time Hinan used to be a bit on the chubbier side, but he's not now. He's well now.
As you can see.
Yeah, he's very well now. But yeah, this was all very, very detrimental to your health, and you said that the reason why you were so into anime was more of something about you being able to feel good about yourself.
What I really feel when I watched anime was the ideal was that it showed character development. It showed a weak, useless person, a person who struggled, or a person who was really just lame all in all. Overcome its weaknesses, overcome what, and grow as a person to the point where, okay, I meet this enemy, and this enemy whacks the hell out of me. Then, like, through training or through whatever journey that this hero goes through, he overcomes another issue, and another issue, and another issue. And a lot of anime fans talk about a lack of character development makes this character bland. And a lot of shows get, crapped on because they don't show, like, the main characters just straight up powerful or just what. But what I feel in a show shows character development. What appeals in anime is that there's character development. You see a person grow, and that satisfies something deep within a human being.
I think that is why a lot of people like anime, the appeal of the anime, because for me, like I said, it's somewhat relatable. You can relate to the main character and you can see him grow. And like I said, it's all relatable. That main character could be anyone, you could see yourself as that main character.
Yeah, and I think that can lead us into cosplay as well. Like, I know some people who if we want to go outside of cosplay, leading into cosplay, I know a few people, like, when I ask them why I've been to some basketball tournaments, a specific basketball
tournaments?
Yeah.
And you saw cosplay at a basketball tournament?
No, it wasn't cosplay. It was this guy, and he tried to do something. I can't remember exactly what he tried to do. But then,
is the guy that wanted to be like an anime character, and he did anime style moves.
Yeah, and then I went to speak to the guy, and then the guy he's actually Japanese, by the way, and then he I've seen his anime collection. Like, he has figurines and all that, and I believe that they were quite expensive, like costly figurines as well. And then I asked him, like, what was he trying to do, and he said that he saw this anime, and this was in an actual basketball tournament, by the way. And then he said, like, he saw this anime, a basketball anime. Do you know what it is?
Yeah, I think if I'm not mistaken, it's Kuroko no Basuke.
Yeah, is it? Yeah, it was a
basketball. It is a basketball anime.
Anime
Very
about
famous
basketball.
one.
Yeah, and then when we asked what he was trying to do, he said that he was trying to copy a move from that anime, and then, like, he said that the only reason why he got into basketball was because of that anime. So we see, like, there are people who try to adapt, like, the works of animes into their life. So I guess that can also lead us into cosplay.
Yeah, like in Paradigm Mall or that cosplay event, I saw a dude. I was coming out from church on Sunday morning. I saw a dude walking in bright pink hair towards Paradigm Mall. I'm not calling the person out or anything, but I'm just saying it's very interesting what people how creative their minds can be to draw out the reality of anime into real life. Like all those anime costumes. Anime cosplays and all that. So very interesting how people can shift reality into
a
the
lot
present.
of sorry, Brian.
Yep.
But I feel a lot of people, what they also gain from cosplaying is the sense of community. Is that, like, you're with these people and all these people are doing these cosplay things and you're part of a community. It's a very respected thing in the cosplaying community to pull off a really good cosplay. Like, it's hard. This is a character that someone drawn out and they're like weird, unproportionate clothing sizes, weapon sizes, and everything. Even body proportions is very hard to pull off that. So some cosplayers, they actually work out and they put time aside to design themselves into this fit, and then when they go to these places and they cosplay with the groups and the rest of the cosplayers, I'm sure it's very fulfilling to get, like, you know, people say
Compliments.
like compliments, and people just really show amazement at this kind of thing, and it is very impressive that they are able to achieve this kind of thing.
I agree as well. And I also feel like some people, when they watch anime, they really get lost in the storyline. Like, I know a lot of people actually who, one thing I want to bring up is also anime fan fiction regarding, like, I know a lot of
Fanfiction?
people, there's
Fan fiction for anime?
Yeah, there's fan fiction for everything.
I did not know that.
I will expose myself a bit here, but like, there's one time, if you watch the previous episode with Marcus and I, Marcus is right there, but that was one
Why
time.
don't you watch our previous episode?
Anyway, I used to be a really, really big fan of Harry Potter. I still quite am. And I actually used to read Harry Potter fan fiction.
Right.
Yeah, I used to write Harry Potter fanfiction as well. Okay, we won't touch on that. And the thing is, when reading about Harry Potter fanfiction, right, I was so into Harry Potter that I wanted to be part of the world. And that's how I got into reading fanfiction, is because I started reading fanfiction because what they do is they kind of create a character, and your character that you are currently inside that world, and you're kind of living throughout their story. But the only difference between like you and the movie, like fanfiction and the movie, is that you get to be a character inside there, and you're reading from that character's point of view, and you get to be inside that story. But for me, it got so bad to the point where me reading that fanfiction and my story inside that fanfiction started overtaking reality. Like, when I was reading that, I remember I was like Hinan too. I would literally stay up until 6 a.m. Like, no,
6
not
a.m.,
6.
what?
Sorry, I would stay up until 2 a.m. to read fan fiction, and then I would literally stay up until 3 a.m. to literally write my own fan fiction. And it's a bit embarrassing, but I spent about 400 like on like Harry Potter stuff. Yeah, and Harry Potter merch. But what really was the issue there, what I realized now about me at the time from my personal experience, was that when I was reading fan fiction, I was so into fan fiction to the point where it completely took over my reality. Like, every single day, I was so immersed into fan fiction. And like, when I went to school, when I was eating, literally there was one time when I was showering, I would literally put like my phone inside a plastic bag, and then like I would wrap it, and then I would just scroll from there to literally just read that fan fiction, because I was so immersed in that world. And it got to the point where, like, when I went to sleep, the first thing I would think of is, okay, what's gonna happen now? When I stopped that, I would be like, oh, what's gonna happen now? Then when I woke up, I'll be like when I wake up, the first thing I'll do is read my anime. When I brush my teeth, I'll read my
your anime?
I'll read my fan fiction.
I think you just exposed yourself.
No, I never watch anime, except for JoJo, because my friends introduced it to me. But yeah, I feel like the issue about that was I was too caught up in a false reality that I actually forgot to live in reality.
And I think that's the main issue with anime in general at the time. Like, a lot of people say they watch anime for fun, and like I totally get watching anime for fun. But when it becomes a form of escapism or a false sense of reality, it shows an ideal reality. That's the thing. And people like that. So like life sucks sometimes. And like it's so much more enjoyable for a lot of people to watch something that's appealing, that's good. Like, you know, I used to join like anime pages and lots of anime communities where they would just like send memes and talk about anime stuff. And a lot of times you'll see this meme, it's like for the anime world. And then like, which anime world would you transport yourself into? People like the idea of anime worlds. Even if it's horrible, like you see like Attack on Titan, there's this anime. It's giants eating humanity to the point of extinction. But there's still people who say they'd rather be in this world than the real world. The thing is, what a lot of people don't realize is that
you're not the main character.
it's like you're not going to be the main character in that world. The main character's decision is to get up and change something about it. What I feel a lot of anime fans, myself included, back in the day, is that we see this ideal and we like this ideal, but we're not willing to take that step forward out of our own miserable life. For me lah, at that point of time.
You
for
didn't
me,
have to say that.
Yeah, for my own, I wouldn't say miserable. I would say I didn't want to take up and step and change that about my life. It's like I watched anime. I guess this is the story of Hinan never told before.
No.
But like when I watched anime, I was lonely. I didn't have many strong relationships with the people around me. And like watching romance anime showed that ideal person. This guy, he's a nobody. He sucks. He doesn't have any talents. He's clumsy. But he's got all these people around him that love and care for him. And isn't that wonderful? Like, it's a nice ideal to watch and look at, and like to see that this guy, despite his flaws, everybody around him accepts him. And that's something that people like. Watching things like, I watched one of the action anime, Sword Art Online, Kirito. Everybody loves this guy. And he overcomes all these different bad guys throughout the thing. And it's something that is appealing. This guy, he overcomes villains, he defeats whatever bad guy that he comes across. He's stronger than everyone else. And then he's liked by everybody. What is there not to like in this? It shows an ideal life. It shows an ideal situation. And understandable, it was not something that I had in my life at the time. And so I would watch different animes where I would see this. The guy was surrounded by a community of people who enjoyed his presence, who appreciated him for who he is despite his flaws. And this guy, these different main characters throughout the different animes I watched, they overcome their own issues. And showing that, for me, was something that I really enjoyed and was my ideal. What people don't get is that can be your story as well. That can be your ideal. It distracts, because if you're going to sit down and you're going to watch this false reality and feel good about it, at the end of the day, when you turn off your phone, when you turn off your device, what are you sleeping with? You're sleeping with reality view, not the anime world view, not the enjoyment. You're sleeping with you who just spent 6 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 2 hours, or 1 hour. Okay, whatever time you spend, you're sleeping with you who has to be in the real world. I know reality sucks for a lot of people, and that's something that I see constantly being repeated throughout the anime community. Reality sucks. But reality is real. It's what you wake up to every morning. It's what you go to sleep with every night. It's what you walk through every day for the majority of the time that you're not watching anime. And for me, after watching anime 6 hours every day, I've made the decision that I want my reality to be different. Understandable, I really enjoyed anime. Don't get me wrong, I have nothing against anime. Apart from the fact that it draws people away from reality sometimes. But I have nothing against you if you watch anime. I was a huge anime watcher, in fact. But like right now, this day, I don't watch a single episode of anime at all. It's because that time that I'm using to watch anime, could I not use it in my real life to do something that's beneficial to real me? Yeah, I had no friendships. So what did I do? I put down the darn phone, I closed the darn screen, and I did something about myself. Who wants to be friends with a guy who comes into class, sleeps, doesn't do his homework, doesn't exercise, doesn't do anything positive with his life, smells bad because he didn't take a shower in the morning because he was
shower
rushing
in the
to
morning,
school.
right.
Do something to change who you are. A lot of anime fans, when I was on the Reddit pages and I was on the Facebook communities, they complain, yeah, reality sucks, we don't have much friends, anime people are what? And I'm not saying all anime people like this, all anime fans are like this. No, not by any means. I know lots of popular guys, really popular guys, really successful people that watch anime. But I'm saying there's a small community in anime. This is the people that I want to address, the people who were like me, the people who struggle to fit in, the people who really didn't like reality as it is and watched anime to escape from that. And I think rather than escape into anime, you should do something, get up and do something to make yourself better. Okay, you have bad relationships. What are you doing about that? Make yourself a more fit person. Make yourself a more sociable person. Get up and talk to the person. Get up and talk and make some friends. The time you spend watching anime, I don't know, call one of your friends up, have a conversation, face to face, rather than you sitting at home just watching someone else be friendly with someone else on the screen. Do something about your reality. rather than watch someone else achieve theirs.
Wow,
Very well said.
that's true. But that's to say, not watching an anime doesn't mean you're going to hell directly lah. I mean, I'm coming from a part where I am a casual watcher. I mean, I don't watch it now already, but I would say that you need to treat anime very carefully with how you watch it and how you consume anime, because as what we all know, what goes in will reflect what we are.
Yeah.
And watching anime won't condemn you. You're not going to go to hell because you watch anime. But you also gotta take into account, is this healthy? Like goes to everything, working out. Some people really enjoy working out. Is working out 3 hours a day 4 or 5 hours a day to get that body, is it really healthy for you? I mean, in a sense of physically, definitely, but is it really helping out in other situations? So I would say the middle ground for anime is you need to be aware, you need to be alerted. I don't think that's a word. Alerted? Is it a word?
Yeah.
Alright, but you need to be aware of what anime does, and you need to tread carefully when it comes to watching anime and how you consume it.
Yeah.
Because you need to control anime. You can't let anime control you. Or else, unfortunately, you end up like what Hinan just described. Sorry, Hinan.
Yeah, for sure. And I think like the main issue people can undergo for like when you're really deep into anime is sort of what Hinan went through as well, which was escapism using anime and the false reality. But that's not just for anime, of course. That's just for
Everything
else.
in life.
Yeah,
Definitely
like-
movies, K-drama, even music possibly.
Yeah, in books you can find escapism.
Yeah,
in
look
books.
at that. Look at her.
Eh, yeah. Thank you for bringing middle ground to this, and thank you for your very, very insightful and it was very, very well said. But now before we move on, we actually have a segment from our very lovely Emily, but factually. So let us see what is the fact for today.
Hey guys, welcome back to Perfectly, conducted by yours truly, Emily. So I've done some really juicy research about anime, and I would just like to share a little bit about it with you guys. So one of the most popular misconceptions about anime is that people think that anime is just for kids. But factually, it isn't. Some of the animes that are produced are intended for adult or more matured audience, whereas some of them could be easily misinterpreted or misunderstood by younger audiences or like a child per se. So just because a show, contains two-dimensional characters doesn't mean that they are just for kids. So, but if we were to actually dive deeper into it, why do people actually think that anime is just for kids? Why is it stereotyped that way? Well, it's because that, anime is generalized as being childish. Well, anime isn't really respected as an art form. Well, even though it was intended for everyone at that time, for as animation of its conception of the things like, like Looney Tunes or Disney cartoons. So also the reason why actually people also, misinterpret anime versus cartoons is that they just don't understand the difference between it. Well, it's because that back in the days when anime just started off, animes had that format where they had where they exaggerated their expressions, where they had like big eyes and no mouths per se. So because like that, in return it was just placed as cartoons as well, where cartoons was also generalized as being childish, because cartoons back then, they also had this format where they also where they exaggerate their facial features as well on their characters. So in conclusion, anime is, we shouldn't be generalizing anime as a genre, but more as a medium. So that's all I got for you for Factually. I'm passing it back to Isabel.
Very, very well said, Emily, about that fact. That was very, very interesting. Now, moving on to our very, very last and final point. Hinan, you mentioned that you were really, really deep into anime, and then one day you just and then now you are a completely changed person. very, very different from what we saw. The person who walked into class with messy hair and like
His
dark
hair is
eyebrows.
still also somewhat messy
I just
now.
took off my cap, okay.
Maybe you should have kept it on.
Okay, his hair is usually neat now, but he's living a much healthier and better lifestyle now. And can I ask, Hinan, how did you you were you were in a deep hole, man. So like,
Whoa.
how did you come out from that?
Well, let's start with Jesus first, because Jesus, everything begins and ends with
Amen.
Jesus. So when I watched the anime, I wasn't in church yet. By then I wasn't a Christian. So what I felt, if you heard my testimony before, I felt a huge emptiness inside throughout my life. Throughout my life, from when I was a kid, I just wasn't satisfied with what life had to offer, and I wanted to be happy. I wanted to be satisfied with what life had to offer me. I wanted whatever I wanted at that time. I didn't deny myself anything. If I wanted a toy, I would get that toy as a kid. And as I grew older, when I wanted to spend time playing games, I would spend my time playing games. Whatever I did that satisfied me at the moment, I went for it. And anime was one of those things that really satisfied me for a very, very long time. 6 hours a day. It was satisfying for 6 hours a day. But the worst part was when I closed the screen, when I ended off the thing. Like I said earlier, I felt empty. I felt nothing. Like I had just wasted my whole day. And what I really was looking for was that fulfillment. And at the end of the day, after searching and searching and searching, I was invited to church. I didn't search for Jesus. I didn't know. I was just invited to church one day. And when I accepted Jesus into my life, I didn't feel that emptiness anymore. I didn't have to use anime to fill in that gap within myself. But beyond that, I also didn't want my life to be the way it was every day. 6 hours a day I was watching anime. And I wasn't growing as a person. I didn't have strong relationships. I didn't have I didn't achieve much. And I'm not saying I've achieved much now. I wouldn't consider myself a great person. And I wouldn't say my relationships with everyone around me are incredibly rock solid strong. But what I did was I decided at some point or another that I wanted a change. And I got up. I made improvements to myself. I made decisions to be a better version of myself. I did things to improve my character. I worked harder in school. I learned to be around more people. I started, instead of every day watching anime, I decided to spend some time with my friends. I decided to make decisions that allowed me to do more for people around me rather than spend that time on anime. And I guess what is important is having people in your life to speak into your life, that you allow to advise you. One thing that really just, when I put down anime for good, like completely just removed it from my life, was when my pastor told me that anime is ruining your life. And anime, while it isn't sin, it is something that's not beneficial to you. In 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 12, I'm going to back this up with some scripture. You say I'm allowed to do anything, but not You say I am allowed to do anything, but not everything is good for you. And even though I am allowed to do anything, I must not become a slave to anything. I was a slave to anime, 6 hours a day. I like to say this, if you spend more time watching your anime than you do in your prayer with God, in your Bible study with God, I think I'm in question of what is your God here? What is the real God of your life? The fact that you can spend so much time watching anime, but you can't make 5 minutes, you can't make 10 minutes, you can't make 30 minutes to read the Bible or pray with God, spend some time with God. You say you're a Christian, but are you really a Christian if you cannot make the time to spend with God? I know this may sound very harsh, but I come from a genuine place of really loving anime and really spending a lot of time watching anime, and I understand that it's hard, and I understand that it's difficult to put this kind of thing away. But you say you're a Christian, and shouldn't you make time for the things of God rather than constantly enveloping yourself in anime? You're allowed to do anything. Anime isn't going to take you hell, but is it good for you? Is it your master now? Yeah.
Very well said, Hinan. So, Brian, do you have anything to say? I don't think we have much to say because
Kenan top it up, clean it off.
Exactly. Hinan ate and left no crumbs.
I have never heard of that before.
So, I think that can conclude our episode for anime because Hinan really, really said everything well. And coming from a man himself, he's completely changed. So, yeah. Before we end, just a final plug. We actually have church services on Wednesday at 8 p.m. and then we have services on Sunday 10:30 a.m.
AM.
and then evening service
7.
on Sunday at 7 p.m. I always mess this up. Last time Alisa and I did this, we both messed up.
You gotta remember, church doors open 1 hour earlier for prayer as well.
Yeah. So,
Also,
to church.
for the youth, every Saturday 4:30, come for 180 as well. For all the youth that's watching this.
are you gonna plug your Bible study?
Oh yeah, I also have a Bible study right now. If you're more interested in learning about the Bible, which is something that I highly recommend among youth, I have a Bible study at Marcus' house. You can contact the number below in the description, or maybe you can have Martin edit it over here, or here, or here, or
Martin's
here,
over there.
or here. Yeah.
No, you can add mine
You
here.
can-
Add mine
yeah,
here
you can
for
have
180.
our numbers here.
It's
Or
okay,
you can,
Martin,
for
you
more
don't have to.
information, you can just contact the link
You
in
don't have to.
whatever. I don't know. The YouTube guys will figure it out. But yeah, I have Bible studies 8 p.m. every
Martin's sitting
Friday
over
where I
there
talk
and he looks
about
really
things. We
scared
can have
right now.
dinner too. Yeah.
Alright, let's wrap this up.
Alright, so thank you guys so much for watching our 4th episode of season 3, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.